Okay, so just so Mr. Oakley knows, Retro Funk was the spring of 1998. That was the last time it was pulled out of the Wildcat. Yeah. He says he was a freshman. He really wasn't. I think he was almost a super senior at that point, right? No, just kidding. Yeah, no, I think that was his junior year. That was his junior year. But yeah, 1998, that brought back some fun memories, that's for sure. Well, let's see. So you'll notice that the group sitting in front of you looks pretty much the same as it did last group. Did something different this year. Kind of stole an idea from my buddy at Casper Natrona, where he does both of his jazz bands in one class, and then he mixes them up. In the sense that if you're playing fourth trumpet in this band, you're playing like first or second in jazz one. And so it gives everybody experience, everybody a chance to solo. Because if you're the fourth trumpet player, you very rarely get a chance to solo. And so and it kind of mixes them up a little bit. I had a few extra saxophones, so you'll notice that there's a couple of them sitting out over here. But the nice thing is that when we had kids quarantined, that we always had people to kind of fill in the spot. Like we've got one that's not here tonight, but one of the other players is filling in because they already knew the music, and so it makes that transition a lot easier. I will say that this has been kind of an unusual fall in the sense that we're grooving along in jazz band, and you look at the computer behind me, and there's 5 people playing along with us at home as they're quarantined, and that's just kind of the state of where we're at right now. But I think it helped these guys prepare because even though they were sitting at home, they still had a chance to play with us. And the internet has a bunch of latency, so what happens is you just mute their microphone and then you don't hear their sound, but they can hear you and they're playing along with you, and it keeps them in shape and all that stuff. And I think it worked really well. So yeah, a little bit of an unusual year in that sense, but I think this has been a good experiment so far with having the 2 bands combined together into one. So we're going to start with a professional edition, actually, entitled Lullaby of Birdland. These professional editions, they were actually written for professional big bands. They have some very, very challenging parts in them, and it's going to feature Wyatt Carter on the alto saxophone. Woo! Yeah. Woo! was Van Morrison's Moon Dance, and Michael Bublé came out with a version of it, I think in the early 2000s, might have been the late 90s. And this arrangement is based on that. It's going to feature Cheyenne Listen and on trumpet and Wyatt Tarter on alto playing the melody. And then Andrew Mefford going to do a solo, Wyatt's going to do a solo, and then Jake Strout on Barry will also solo. So here is Van Morrison's Moon Dance. So tonight is kind of interesting for this band because this is the first time in about 5 weeks that we've actually been all together performing. So it's just with the unique situation of this year, it makes it a little bit more challenging from the director's end. But I think these guys have handled it really well. So anyway, so a big hand for CCHS students, Celebration students. Through this fall and still making performances happen. So we're really hoping that Jazz Festival season, that's coming up around the corner, is still to go. And right now, Casper Jazz Festival is good to go, and we're just kind of going from there. The only one we know that's been canceled so far is UW. So we're hoping that we can have a good year and be able to perform quite a bit. So the last tune we'd like to perform for you is a funk tune entitled Pharaoh's Funk. It has a very Middle Eastern melody to it. It's based on the Phrygian mode. For those that really know music, it's based on the third scale degree of the major scale. And so it has some really unique challenges, and it's just a cool chart to play. And it's going to feature Brian Jackson on the tenor saxophone. And once again, thank you for coming out tonight, and enjoy the rest of your evening.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you once again for coming out tonight, and we hope to see you again in the spring at the Spring Jazz Gala over at CCHS. Take care and drive safely going home.